You want to become the best version of yourself, but you're stuck into old habits and patterns that prevent you from making positive changes into your life. If you're sick of trying to make positive changes without ever succeeding, then keep watching. Because in this video, I will be sharing a secret technique that us psychologists use to help people take action to become the best version of themselves. People online make it look so easy, right? Just go to the gym, just start meditating, stop eating junk food. But if you've ever tried to make any kind of change into your life, then you know how hard it is. And it's supposed to be hard because change involves us getting out of our comfort zone and sit with discomfort. In this video, I'm going to help you become the best version of yourself by sharing the technique of motivational interviewing. So what are you waiting for? Go and get pen and paper because you will need to take notes. And whilst you do that, hi, my name is Bri. I'm a pre-qualified psychologist working in London and on an exciting path to become a clinical psychologist. On this channel, I share psychology insights and lessons that I've learned in my life and career to help you live a healthier, happier, and more productive life. So if that sounds like something that might interest you, then you should absolutely subscribe and stick around. According to the theory of motivational interviewing, the reason why people struggle to make positive changes is because of ambivalence. Ambivalence means wanting to do something, but. So, for example, I want to go to the gym, but I don't have time. Or I want to quit alcohol, but drinking helps me with my social skills. I want to eat healthier, but healthy food is too expensive. It basically means finding excuses. And honestly, there is nothing wrong with that. As humans, this is just how our brain works when we want to make any kind of positive change into our lives. This is because making change means stepping into the unknown. And Madam Brain doesn't really like the unknown. She likes comfort and predictability because she needs to keep you safe. And this makes total sense. Back in the days when humans were hunters and gatherers, something unknown, like another tribe or an animal that nobody had ever seen before, or fire before fire was a thing, usually equaled danger. So we literally evolved to avoid unknown and unpredictable situations. If I have never exercised in my life, I know exactly what is going to happen if I don't go to the gym, because I have seen that my entire life. But going to the gym in a new environment with people I don't know and machines that I don't know how to use, that sounds terrifying. And Madam Brain can't really tell the difference between having the gym scaries or seeing a tiger. She has not evolved to learn to make that difference. So what happens is that we remain trapped in what I like to call a golden cage. A cage where we feel safe and comfortable, but that is actually preventing us from becoming the best version of ourselves. In psychology, this concept is called cognitive dissonance. This usually happens when our behavior does not align with our value, hopes, and goals. When that happens, Madam Brain will try to protect us from psychological discomfort by making excuses, in which most of the time we actually believe in. We really believe that we don't have time to go to the gym or that eating healthier is expensive. But even when we don't even believe in these excuses, we will get to a point when we repeat them so often that at one point we'll have to start believing in them. Think about smokers and how many times you've heard a smoker saying, oh, I don't smoke too much, or I only smoke when I drink, or even it helps me relax, which by the way, it's impossible because nicotine actually increases cortisol levels, but that's a story for another time. So what do we do? How do we get out of the golden cage? As always, I have prepared a structured list to help you in the process. So, step 1, identify the change that you want to make. This may sound obvious, but I promise you it's not. Because just thinking about a behavior that you want to implement or a change that you want to make is not as powerful as actually saying it out loud, or even better, writing it down. Psychologically, that is much more powerful. So, write it in your journal, in a post-it, in the notes app of your phone, whatever you like, just write it down and try to be very specific with it. Instead of saying, I want to start exercising, think about how would you like to start exercising? How many times a week? What do you want to be doing? Instead of saying, I want to eat healthier, think about what does healthier means to you. Do you want to eat more protein? Do you want to eat more fruit and vegetables? But also, why do you want to make this change into your life? Why is it important to you? Just going with the exercising example, why do you want to start that? Why do you want to do that? Do you want to feel better, look better, or just feel more confident? Once you've done that, once you've named the change that you want to make, you're ready for step 2. That is going to be a little bit more challenging because step 2 is obviously naming your excuse. This will help you see clearly what is the story that you're telling yourself. So I'm going to use the example, I don't go to the gym because I don't have time. I'm going to go with this because I hate the I don't have time excuse. I honestly get the ick every time someone tells me I don't have time. It bothers me so much because I truly believe that anyone has time. I'd rather someone telling me I choose not to put time in something rather than I don't have time for this. Now, after you have identified your excuse, you are going to analyze it. Basically, we're going to determine how much this excuse is actually true. So for the I don't have time excuse, I will be asking you, how are you currently spending your time? Are you spending your evening doom scrolling Instagram? Could you maybe go to sleep earlier so that you can wake up earlier and go to the gym as first thing in the morning? Could you maybe find workouts that are only 10-20 minutes long? Because I think everyone can carve out 10-20 minutes from our day to do any form of exercising. So by identifying the excuses that your brain is creating, you will be better able to understand that this comes from just human resistance. Usually your excuses won't be very realistic or very strong, and by analyzing them you will be able to recognize it, which is the first step to motivate you to make a change. But of course, just naming the change that you want to make and the excuse is not enough to make any kind of change into your life. And this is why we're going to step 3. It is reflection. In this step, we are going to reflect on the person that you want to be, the best version of yourself. In this step, explore your dreams, hopes, and aspirations for the future. And now think about your current behavior, whatever it is that you want to change that you are doing right now. Does that behavior align with the best version of yourself? Does that behavior align with the person that you want to be in the future? All of us will have hopes and aspirations for the future, and the reason why we want to make changes into our lives is because we want to become that person. We want to be closer to our dream self, to our best self. This may sound like a small thing, but highlighting and finally naming the discrepancy between what your behavior is and the person that you want to become will give you so much motivation to change. And motivation to change is the key of motivational interviewing, because once we have motivation, we are finally ready to put on the work. And the work happens in step 4. Now, stay with me because this point is key. Research indicates that ambivalence comes from 2 factors. Believing that the change is not important, so doubting that the change will actually have a positive impact into our lives, or for example, seeing the benefits of remaining in the comfort zone. So for example, if you think that exercising won't really change your health and your body that much because you already do X, Y, and Z, or you see the benefits of remaining at home because maybe going to the gym is too time consuming for you. But also ambivalence can stem from low confidence. So doubting our ability to be able to make changes into our lives. This will usually happen due to past unsuccessful attempt to change a particular behavior. So if your goal, for example, is to start exercising and you started in the past and it didn't go well, you hated it, you forgot to do it and you lost motivation, then you will have less trust within yourself that you will be actually able to make a change. Now, in general, if you have been struggling to make a change into your life, you are gonna have one of these problems. So either you perceive the change not important, or you don't feel that you have the ability of making the change. Or it could be both. To understand which one do you have, I'm going to ask you 5 questions to which you have to answer yes or no. Are you ready? Question number 1, do I sometimes doubt how important this change really is? Question number 2, are there benefits to staying where I am? Question number 3, is it difficult to prioritize this change due to limited resources? Question number 4, do I doubt my ability to achieve this change? And finally, question number 5, am I hesitant because past attempts were unsuccessful? If you answer yes to one of the first 3 questions, it means that you undervalue the importance of the change. On the other hand, if you answer yes to even one of the last 2 questions, then it means that you feel that you're not able to make the change. And you have both if you have answered yes to questions from both groups. So, how do we address this? The technique of motivational interviewing suggests that whether you feel that the change is low important or you don't feel confident enough to make the change, something that can work is making a pro and cons list of changing versus not changing the behavior. So, for example, if the change you want to make is to start exercising, then you would write 2 columns with exercising versus not exercising. And for each of the 2, you're going to write pros and cons. So obviously a pros of exercise could be better health, better physical shape, all the psychological benefits, whilst the cons of working out could be it's time consuming, I don't know how to use the equipment, I will be embarrassed at the gym. And you're gonna do exactly the same with the not exercising scenario. So what are the pros and cons of not exercising? However, if we want to dig more specifically into the 2 subgroups that we identified, so low importance and low confidence, if you are more in the category of low importance, what you can do is look again at the reflection step, where you have reflected a little bit about the person that you want to become. Have that in mind and think about how making this change into your life aligns with your deepest life goals and aspiration. What does it actually mean for you to make this change? Think about the consequence of making this change, not only in the immediate future, but also 5, 10 years down the line. If you want to start your business, for example, but you are scared and you don't know actually how much it will even benefit you to start a business, instead of thinking about the result that the small action of, for example, opening your website is gonna have tomorrow or this week, and think about the impact long term, 5, 10 years down the line, that this small action that you took could have on your future and on your future self. Our everyday actions usually have ripple effects. Yes, today is uncomfortable, tomorrow will probably be uncomfortable, and it may be uncomfortable quite a long time, but there will be a point where we are gonna reap all of the fruits of our hard labor. And that all started from that very simple action that you took today. If your ambivalence comes more from low confidence, then what you can do is to make a list of your past successes. And again, actually make an effort to write this down to make it even more powerful. So what are the things that you accomplished in the past? Did you also find that things hard at first, but then as time progressed, you found them easier and easier to the point that now they just come naturally to you? If you were able to achieve those successes, then why wouldn't you be able to make any kind of change into your life? Everyone has the power to improve their lives and to become the best version of themselves. We just need to take the courage of actually getting out of our comfort zone. Also, something else that you can do is to set small but very achievable goals. Don't set like a huge goal of going 5 times a week to the gym. That's unrealistic and you're basically setting yourself up to fail. What you can do is every morning I'm going to do a 5 minutes workout. That's all, 5 minutes. Start small. By setting small goals that you are then able to achieve, you will increase your confidence gradually and you will then be able to make your goals bigger and bigger. And also, you probably have low confidence because of past failures. And that is totally normal and understandable. However, instead of seeing what happened in the past as a failure, see it as an opportunity that you got to get feedback about what works and what doesn't work for you. If you try to start exercising before but it didn't work, ask yourself why it didn't work and what can I change this time to set myself up for success. We are all different human beings, and what works for me won't work for you, and what works for you, it won't work for me. So if you didn't manage to achieve a goal in the past, ask yourself, why was that? Were you maybe following advices from someone else that maybe are not the right fit for you? Think creatively and find your own way of doing things. But even after all of that, nothing can change until we do step 5. That is, plan for action. And that is obviously the most important step, because this is the step where we actually start to plan for our change. Now that you have identified what is the change that you want to make, and that you're finally motivated to do that, you are going to brainstorm a few things that you could do in order to make sure that you succeed. This is a step where we actually start planning for the change that we want to make. So the idea here is that you need to list a few actions that you could possibly implement to make sure that you succeed in the change that you want to make. And ideally, they need to be more than one. So think about how you can effectively implement that change into your life in a number of different ways. So for example, if the change that you want to make is to start exercising, then you could potentially wake up earlier. Only find shorter workouts so that you can maintain your current routine. Start with a friend so that you can be held accountable. Follow a plan on an app to keep you motivated and so that you know exactly what you need to do. Or select a few workouts that you truly enjoy doing. Now, all of these actions are perfectly fine to take, whatever works for you. However, from this list, what you need to do is just select a couple that you can realistically implement to make the change and to make sure that you remain consistent. After you drew this plan, you could also maybe share it with friends or family so that they can support you and make sure that you succeed. Please remember though, even after all of this, be prepared for challenges. Change is going to be difficult because it requires you to get out of your comfort zone, which, as we saw, goes against your brain's wishes. If you experience setbacks, it's totally fine and it's totally normal. Try to reframe them as trials rather than failures. What can you learn from them, and how can you change your approach to make sure that next time you can do better? The point is not achieve perfection, is just to make a simple small change that can then lead us to our dream life. And this brings us to the end of the video. Please let me know in the comment, what change do you want to make in your life? What is the behavior that you want to start to implement? I am so curious to know how you're going to apply all of these steps to your life. If you like this video, you might also like this video here where I talk about how to get rid of a victim mentality, because usually sometimes what stops us from change is not taking accountability for our lives and remaining in a victim mindset. So you might find that helpful. Or you can watch this video here that YouTube has picked up just for you based on your personal interests. So I will see you over there, or I will see you in the next video. Bye!